Here we are. That's a great question. For anyone who couldn't hear that, basically, there exist a lot of numbers and data around kids who go to college, what they study, how long they study, what degrees they achieve, and there's virtually nothing about kids who go into careers. In Nevada, the way we've tackled this problem is, kind of like I alluded to, we in industry are sick of hearing this career or college thing. It's bizarre. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, why would I want someone to come work in my factory if they can't even enter a community college or a college without remediation? It doesn't make sense. And so what we've tried to do is explain to them that those basic foundational skills, so the ability to read, the ability to do math, the ability to problem solve, which can be measured by college entrance exams and also by ACT's National Career Readiness Certificate, both of which talk to each other in a sense in terms of validating the skill set. The education system should be using those and coaching all kids towards those things, because the reality is it's like a career highway, and there's lots of on and off ramps. The off ramp could be a training program that's aligned to a credential. It could be college. It could be a combination of both. But the idea that there's two separate roads doesn't make any sense. So we've had to be very vocal and very proactive in speaking to people and trying to say, look, if you come work at ClickBond and you want to come in and get an entry-level job, great. We pay for education. We believe very strongly that you should be training, and we tell the educators this. We will pay for education. So if a student comes in and can do those basics and they want to pursue an engineering path, well, we're going to probably put them through some community college training in some technical way, and then we're going to probably push them through an engineering program on the academic side. And Connecticut Dream It Do It Nevada actually has some tools that were developed at the national level by the National Association of Manufacturers that actually show a career path that you could show a student or an educator or someone that literally lays out the career track. So starting from an entry-level job up through, a senior engineer or something. It shows the credentialing path that person has to take. It shows the academic path that person needs to take, as well as the salary that one needs to climb, all on one sheet of paper. And so all of a sudden it starts to come together for our superintendents, especially, kind of when they saw that document, they said, this is what we're looking for. Because a lot of them understand that you don't need one or the other, you need both. And so, I would start at a minimum at the reading, writing, math, problem solving, National Career Readiness Certificate, or college entrance exam that maps to it as a metric, because those things are kind of equal. If someone has a certain score on the ACT, that maps to a certain score on the Career Readiness Certificate and vice versa. Well, I would say that any student sitting in a chair anywhere is a potential person who maybe one day could run our company or invent the next great thing that makes us even more competitive than we already are. Every young person, especially in sitting in classrooms, those are opportunities for us. And so the real question is, how do we tap into those people and communicate with them and reach them and excite them? And I think, especially because Connecticut's such a rich manufacturing state, because there's such a strong history here, that the collaborative opportunity to really get into these schools and have an impact on these kids at the schools, and then bring them to the factories to see, in our case, wow, we make fasteners. Oh, well, that's boring. Well, do you know this fastener goes on a fighter jet that protects our country? Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. And this pilot who's in the Army or the Navy or the Marine, he actually, has used this plane to defeat the bad guys. Whoa. And all of a sudden, it gets really interesting to these kids. And so, I'm not saying every single individual manufacturer has to step up to create a whole new process to do all this. What I'm saying is there are resources in the state already moving, like Connecticut Dream It Do It, that if you all can work with to help shape and contribute to, both financially and then also with your time and energy, they can be the facilitators who have the relationships built to help let folks and children and parents and teachers know what our sector is about. And the one thing I didn't say in my initial remarks that I really believe, we hear all this talk about the debt, the $16 trillion of debt, which I can't even actually process in my mind. You hear about healthcare, you hear about the war with North Korea potentially. You hear about all these things that really, you sit there and you're like, how the heck are we going to solve that one? But the skills gap and the future of our companies and the people we have access to, that's a problem that is solvable. And that's a problem that if everyone steps up and plays an active role, we can get there. And that's kind of exciting that there is actually a major problem that we're all concerned with that we can actually fix. We don't need some major legislation. We don't need a hero. We just need to look in the mirror and own what needs to be done. Just to be clear, the statistic is somewhere between 43 and 50% of kids don't graduate. Of the remaining 50%, let's say, that do graduate, 56% of the graduates require 2 years of remediation. What are we doing about it? Well, we have really brought that statistic to our different partners in education, especially at the higher ed level and the K-12 level, and said, guys, look, if you can start pushing graduates of high school toward this kind of common benchmark, which is the career readiness certificate, and every student that leaves that high school has mastered that content, even at the bronze level, we can train those people. Those people can enter community college without remediation. There's your tool to be sure that these people are ready for careers. We don't need to invent a new proficiency exam. In Nevada, our main problem is we were using an exit exam from high school that had no real data behind it showing that it was a valuable indicator of someone's ability. So the movement toward replacing it with a nationally portable, industry-driven indicator is huge progress that hopefully will help remediate that. Right, and just in Nevada, because we have such a high unemployment rate, the head of our workforce system said, it would be really nice to know of the 165,000 people sitting on unemployment, how many of them actually have the basic skill sets mastered? And if I have an exam I could administer to the folks who want to go to work, and for some reason maybe he or she has the math down and the reading down, but can't do the problem solving piece, there's now a curriculum in Nevada because they made the right investment in the right tools where that person can be remediated and then connected to an employer like us who can then train them and develop them over time. But if they had not gone through the screening process and the remediation process ahead of time, they would have come to our door and we would have turned them away, and it's a waste of everybody's time. Good. All right. Well, thank you all very, very much.
All right, on behalf of NESMO, I'd like to make a presentation to you, just a small token of our appreciation. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. I guess the bottom line is that the educators and ourselves really can't put out a substandard product and continue.